I am a trained psychic spy. I was put in a secret program, basically when I was born. Not my choosing, never got compensated. And here I am, decades later, a lot of decades. And I'm totally aligned with my mission, which I could not do if I hadn't been put in an abusive program. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I think that we're going to tailspin into really tough times. But the same as I chose the tough life since birth, you chose what we might be going into. Just wanted to remind you. We're going to start this particular chat with something that I personally would not have chosen to do. But sometimes mistakes are for a very good reason. So this week, actually, at the end of last week, I did an analysis of the energies of Venezuela because I could feel like the drums beating. Okay? Well, they were beating. What you're looking at here, underneath, you can barely see it. I'm sorry, my printer was running out of ink. Uh, that's one heck of a black magic curse on Venezuela. And it coincidentally crosses in the area that has the mining for minerals and gold and all the rest of that, which is there's more to all those adventures in those mines and everybody getting killed and everything, all these weird stuff happening, a lot of magic. There's more to that than that I'm ready to reveal in this chat today. But this is a curse. Okay, so what are we doing with this? Well, after that, we went ahead and we did Mexico because we had a feeling that Mexico was probably not great at this point. And we found that Mexico also has these X's just close up the energy. It's as if they tied up the veins in your heart. Well, you're going to last, but we don't really know how long. So this is like a corridor. This was purposely left open. And this is interesting because I got my looking glass because I can't see well. This aguas calientes is there, and I actually someone who works with me is from there. But beyond that, it's a very spiritual place, and that's where they have where it's all crossed out across Mexico. Okay, so what does this have to do with a chat about your life? Well, that's a curse on a country by people who really know about magic. They really know their metaphysics. We have an unfortunate issue in that the really supposedly nice people who know all about magic decided that they didn't want more nice people to know about magic because then maybe they'd misuse it. So basically, the people that ended up knowing that we have 7 chakras underneath our root chakra, which is what the black magicians play with, the nice people don't know about it, so they can't defend themselves or take care of themselves. So anyway, we're in Revelations. We need to reveal everything, everything, everything. Everything needs to be out there. I don't say more than what I say because I have people standing there, not with a gun, a sharpshooter, just in case I cross a particular line that until now we can't cross. Maybe we can cross it next week. So I'm waiting to be given permission. Why is this important to you? Because they do this to people. When this happens, your destiny changes because you can't flow. So this was done because I looked at the intention with people that want to kind of debilitate the country. They can come in and then they can pick up land or workers for next to nothing. This all has to do with greed and basically raping a country. Because the people that did this are not even from there. So somebody can do this to you. So every time there's a curse, that's a curse, spirits are attached to it. And they're the ones who make sure that the curse stays hooked, working, operational. Hundreds of years, thousands of years. That would be the same case with you if somebody did a curse on you. So here's a kind of a problem in explaining to people that a country can be cursed. When this gets lifted, every single person connected with this country, they were born there, they visited there for a week, 2 weeks, 6 months, all of them get cursed and then they all get liberated. So it's kind of interesting because this is not the first time this has happened in Venezuela, and I don't want to make this all about Venezuela. But today I was thinking, okay, so you're not sure that you really believe in curses, even though it's in the Bible several times, and all religions talk about it. All those archaeological sites, half of the stuff they're looking at and they don't know what it is, it's because it's about magic. And we haven't been allowed to accept that that exists. But what does this have to do with you and your personal life? If you don't, if you struggle with the concept of spirits, you're just going to be completely lost today. In the first place, you're not going to understand how somebody on the other side of the planet can do a black magic and it can affect you here. You're not going to understand how it can last that long. But you're probably struggling with your kids saying there's something that comes out of the closet at night. Those are spirits. But this subject is really important now, and then I'm going to try to go on to something else because I could go on forever on this. Because right now, yesterday was supposed to be like the day the world stood still and the planet is rolling in a different destiny, and it's going to be a before and after having to do with somebody from the government said, we have spaceships. In other words, nobody can now, because authority says they have spaceships, which they've known forever, but then they said it, then we can believe in it. Who's driving those spaceships? You're struggling with your kid coming out of the closet at night and saying he can't sleep. Okay? And things happen to you and they say, gee, that's weird. You're not willing to recognize it. And now you're going to deal with aliens? In terms of Venezuela and Mexico, what is it that we are doing? Because we have a group that works together called Mantristas, and we do a lot of mantras. Venezuela had a black magic before, and a mandala, a sand mandala, was done by a group of tantric monks that I brought into Miami. And they worked for 5 days, which is traditional for them. And it had to do with cleaning up Venezuela, particularly the curse, which I did not tell. The monks knew, but they don't discuss anything. But the girls and the women that were there, and everybody's so excited about Venezuela, I didn't talk about that. I told the monks, you need to take care of this. You're tantric monks, you can do it. And it actually did get released at the end of the ceremony, of the closing ceremony. I watched it being lifted up. So we contacted the same group of tantric monks, the Rinpoche, which is traipsing around either Tibet or northern India, so he has to be located. But apparently, they feel that they can locate him. The last time we asked, they weren't able to, and we have instructed them, and we're sending them a donation so that they will clear Mexico and Venezuela. I'm almost afraid to sketch other countries. So you could have the same issue. Why? And the reason we did this is because you need to widen your lens really wide. You didn't even really believe in black magic and spirits and then spaceships and aliens. It's going to hit you all at once. So widen your lens, and our chats should help you to do that. Because supposedly I speak very simple compared to when I listen to the men on Twitter that are talking about all this, all the engineering stuff. I don't understand what they're saying. But we're not talking about the physical dimensions, so I don't have to get into that. But anyway, you need to wrap your head around this subject really quick. And it includes the acceptance of spirits that hide in your kid's closet, or the spirit that ensures you don't get along with your mate, even though you're incredibly compatible and love each other incredibly. Okay. So countries can be cursed just like people can be cursed. By the way, and here we go. Where's that line? I can't cross to where I'm going to be sorry. I'm going to cross the line. The planet can be cursed. And it was cursed. And we didn't know what the heck to do about that, because that's at a level is we're great, our group, but I'm not sure about the planet has been cursed many times. And that's part of mythology. The gods send down this stuff. It's true. It's absolutely true. And the reasons for doing it are just as mundane It's not to steal the blueprints for our nuclear reactors because these people are beyond that, the ones that are cursing the planet. What they basically want is for us to please produce a lot of negative emotions. Remember, emotions, the definition of the word emotion means to move out, and we're taught to repress. We're taught to repress, which makes us ticking time bombs. But apparently, there are beings from other places that literally live off of astral particles, which are like a gasoline. And they're like a gasoline for us too, because if you have too many astral particles of fire, you have enough energy to run around the neighborhood in the middle of the night. And because it's so much energy, when you lay down, you can't sleep. You're anxious because it's too much of the petroleum of emotions and of the elements. Anyway, I think that somebody is actually doing something to me right now as we are on this chat, because my mind just went like this, boom. I am getting a lot of that lately, and I feel so bad when I see people that are in politics or in big positions, when you see them really struggling when they're on camera or something, and I can kind of feel the energy and I go, I feel so bad because they look like blooming idiots and they haven't done anything. Somebody's doing something to them while they're performing. Not nice. So let's go on to our next question now that we have let you know, so that you won't rest easy, but you'll be able to be more wise, having to do with what might be going on in your life, especially if you own something that produces a mineral that maybe the off-planet people want. And by the way, a lot of that information is common knowledge in Latin America. I'm assuming in Russia too. The place that's not common knowledge is here. We really need to update our computers. What the heck is this? We're the ones with the big technology, and then we're the ones that, in terms of metaphysics, are the ones that don't have enough information. This is not a good combination. It's a really bad combination. Um, Somebody's asking if the government has spaceships. They said it yesterday, but on the 31st, when they had that little conference from NASA that was designed to put people to sleep, and it did, everybody knew that that was kind of opening the door. So today, yesterday, somebody jumped up and said, I work for the government. We have spaceships. And now everybody is jumping on, which is a good thing, because they all wanted to share that, but they weren't allowed to share it. So spaceships, of course there's aliens. The spaceships have aliens in them. And there we go again. What do they look like? Okay, what do they look like? There's something called shape shifting. I don't know if somebody could put it in the chat for those who are shape shifting. It's a concept that's been known about for thousands of years. Not your physical body, but in your energy bodies, your spirit body, which is your astral body, can be any shape you want it to be. So when you say, what does an alien look like? They can look like a wall. They can look like jello. You would call them alien beings that actually look like jello. And in Venezuela, they're called La Mancha Negra. And the other day on Twitter, somebody was talking about a place that had that. Oh no. In Twitter, they said that there's a lot of sarcophagus that has this gooey black liquid over the corpses. And then the usual, please, I'm terrible. The usual modern scientific explanation is, oh, they must have poured that off over to conserve the body. No, that is a type of spirit that comes from deep in the earth, that usually you find it in places like Venezuela, because they have petroleum and they open holes in the ground to get the petroleum. And then they end up bothering literally other civilizations. Okay, so you jump there. Widen your lens. This is not new information. But now you need to incorporate it. You can't read it as mythology. Read it as information. The thing with the aliens, don't read it as Oh my God, read it as information and find a place to put it to where you can feel more master of your destiny, which is what's going to happen now. Lots of people are going to get depressed because they're going to feel they can't do anything and they can. What can you do having to do with the aliens? I would start. This is not the way I wanted this chat to go. So, my moderator, who is private, can tell me if I'm going off on a tangent I shouldn't. What can you do having to do with all of these revelations? A mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention. Give me a second. Please, God, help me with my intention to accept gracefully. Please, God, help me with my intention to accept gracefully. You repeat those words in silence in your head and you expel the breath through your mouth. You will feel a lot better very quickly. And every time a piece of information comes up to where it's like that, do the mantra, but I think you're going to remember the mantra and go, okay, graceful. What does that mean? I don't automatically assume that they're lying, or I don't automatically assume that we're all going to be wiped out. Just graceful. Allow the process. This is a process. And for a lot of people, it's not going to be graceful, but it can be for you if you set that intention. We are living in end times. We're living in the end of end times. But we all chose to be here. We can go through these times kicking and screaming and accusing other people of what they're not doing or what they're doing. But the truth of the matter is, we knew before we came in that this was not going to be easy. So, what's your part of the process? What are you supposed to be contributing today that you decided to contribute, and that's why you decided to incarnate now? I'll give you a mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention to align with my prosperous mission. I don't remember who I was speaking to the other day, and I said, do you know why Elon Musk makes so much money? He loves what he's doing. Loves what he's doing. The people that love what they're doing can do extremely well, and usually do extremely well. When that same person, their joy and loving of what they're doing goes down because they get exhausted, they're overwhelmed, or because they're so bright and they can't do the same thing continuously, they get bored, the success goes down. So that's the mantra. It's asking for you to have a prosperous mission. There's no reason to be poor just because you're spiritual. On the contrary, if you're really spiritual, you should be able to quicker get to those things that might be blocking your prosperity. Here, I got another wave. There's another wave that's hitting me. Somebody's working on me with what's called psychotronic weapons. It's really very irritating. We're not allowed to talk about this stuff. But in Cuba, if you're a psychiatrist, you have got to go to the university and take all the courses on psychotronic weapons. So we have a country that supposedly is backward, and their psychiatrists know all about psychotronic, which are basically frequency weapons. And then over here, you're not even allowed to talk about it without taking your life in your hands. I don't know if that's going to change soon. So the things that we really should be studying and knowing, because the wars today are more frequency than anything else, which include the wars from the aliens against us. And we don't even know anything about that. We're not allowed to. Don't worry your pretty little head about it. We'll take care of it. They're not taking care of it. That was 2 waves. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Somebody is saying that they don't feel loved, that they do everything with love, but they don't feel like they're loved. I think that you have been loved, you have been hurt a lot by love. And I think that at a critical time when you were between 14 and 17, your father figure was turned away from you. I don't know if there was something happening in the family. And that's an important time. Um, and that is blocking your ability to receive love. I feel that you're a female. I'm not getting caught up with the whole trans thing. Um, and so you're blocked. I feel you're female, and I feel that perhaps you're not gay, at which time your mate would be a male, but you have a disconnect with father figure. So I would do a mantra, and the mantra words would be, please God help me with my intention to heal my ancestral vasanas with my father, ancestral beyond this incarnation. And vasana is a deep rooted injury on your mind, which means the mind streams. And those are the mind streams that create reality. So you are creating reality in an area where you're defective because you had a trauma when you were young, which basically we have all had. So that mantra, if you do it long enough, will draw up those memories out of your tissue and release them. You may remember things from this incarnation or from others or both, and you may cry. A lot of yawning. That's good when you're doing mantras. And we are ready for our next question if we don't have one because we are having issues with our platforms being sat on by people that don't want us to be heard. I'm going to review a little bit with you about magic because somebody told me, oh, no, the magic that's black, I don't like black magic. And I go, I don't like black magic either. But I have learned more about how reality is created by watching the remote viewing black magic because I've diagnosed that a client or a company has that issue. And when I go in to clear it, I see. I don't look at the rituals because they're too awful, but I can see. And I have to say that they are extremely creative. So let me try not to be arrogant. So I'm going to tell you a story. And then I stopped myself and I thought, maybe I shouldn't tell them because maybe somebody here is not so nice and then they'll use it on some. That's what was done to metaphysics in this part of the world, including somebody that may be a relative of mine. Oh, no, 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 no. We don't want the nice people to worry their pretty little heads. So I'm going to tell the story. One of the pieces black magic that I found and that apparently is used a lot, they get your photograph or they get some of your hair, something of yours, because your energy transfers. And they put you, I guess, masking tape, whatever, the wheel of a car, the inside of the wheel of a car. Every time the car is running, you are getting whirled around. So you feel dizzy, you're not clear, you're confused because somebody taped something that's an extension of you on the wheel of a car. And I think it's kind of the most interesting of all when the black magic is like a burial and they literally take something of yours, they do a ritual, they assign spirits, and then they bury you with a lot of dirt or underneath things, or they find a local construction site and right before they're going to do concrete, pour the concrete, they throw in all their little stuff. And it wasn't until recently I realized they're adding the element of earth. You're supposed to have the earth element. They're putting too much. And that's how they cursed you. You had too much earth. You can't move. Nobody can see you, etc. So let's get off of that subject. What do we have here? How do you protect yourself? One of the main things is you need to take care of traumas from the past because that's what opens the portals the easiest. And the other thing is don't sleep with your cell phone. Don't sleep near your router, etc., because that opens portals. Okay, your body itches and produces hives in different places at different times. The skin is the sense organ that's an extension of the heart chakra. So you're having a broken heart issue. I don't know if you're still there that you can tell me that you're aware of that. But the mantra would be, even though I hate and my heart is broken, I love and accept myself. So the organ that is controlling your issue is the heart. So there you got, and my heart is broken. And your heart is broken. If not, your skin wouldn't be broken and having these issues. And the hate is because that is the overwhelming emotion everybody has today on the planet, because we have an excess of the fire element. Even though I hate and my heart is broken. And direct it to the parts of your body that you really want to calm down those hives or that itching. And then I think I would also get a cream that has CBD in it. The itching, if you only have itching and you don't have hives, a lot of times it's spirits. Okay? So I would start the process of protection with labradorite, purifications, etc. But that mantra, I think, is a thing that's going to help you the most. Somebody's asking how they can recognize that they have trauma. If things trigger you easily, if there's something that you really, 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 really want, I mean, like it's so important and you're just not getting it, and you've done everything, corrected your attention, you've done everything for it, you're blocked in your intention and really, really blocked, you have a trauma. And most probably that trauma is an extension of something that happened in other incarnation and then it got repeated in this incarnation. And how can they recognize they have trauma? You can't fix something. When you think and your thought process is not clear and it seems okay to you, but somebody else says, why are you going to do that? This doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And then what you achieve is the opposite of what you want. Matches a lot the definition of what neurosis is, which is you want something, but then your behavior gets you the opposite. That is supposedly a self-sabotage. It's always a spirit. So you have to figure out what the trauma is, which you can do with a mantra. You can go after something and really not even know what you're going after. You just have to word the mantra loosely enough to where it catches the issue. Like too many women, when I tell them they're still angry at their father, and that's why they're angry at their husbands, their mates, whatever, too many of them say, oh, no, I did a lot of therapy on that. I'm fine. They're not fine, but they're not accepting they're not fine. So what I tell them is simply to do a mantra. Even though I hate my parents, I love and accept myself. When they do it often enough, they're going to start getting images of which parent was really the most problematic at that point. We're usually talking about a particular situation. It's not like a generic judgment. And the images will come up, and they always get back to me and said, oh, I didn't remember that. Oh my God, I thought I had taken care of that. I talked about that for 2 years with my therapist. Talking is concepts, which is mental body, which are the mind streams, the mouth, which is the physical body. Our emotions are in a totally separate body. They're in the astral spirit body. So talking about something doesn't go to where the injury is. And that's what's going to change once people are aware that we're really multidimensional. And the reason why cannabis is such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful herb that obviously people should not misuse, okay? In other words, use too much. It's multidimensional. It takes care of your other energy bodies, your emotional body. It reduces fire. You're frustrated? Take cannabis. You got red stuff on your skin? Take cannabis. You can't sleep at night? You're too anxious? Take cannabis. Why? Anxiety is an excess of the fire element. Cannabis reduces the fire element. It's a female plant and it reduces the fire element. Can you be cured through mantras? Okay, so the sharpshooter just pulled back. Nobody has any guns out to shoot me in the head. Yeah, you can be cured through mantras. It's only been centuries. The mind creates the disease. Therefore, the mind can heal it. If you get oncologists, cancer specialists saying, cancer patients, they have this certain personality. They're very up and they're not downers and they're very efficient and they can really take care of things. And, I'll tell them, you have cancer and I'm so sorry. And the person will say, no, don't worry about it. Don't get upset. It's okay. Telling the doctor that. In other words, people get cancer are strong people that can handle everything. The problem is that's not really true. But I have had several people who have been able to handle, I cannot use the word cure because then the guy with the gun moves closer. This is symbolic. You can handle, as long as you know what caused something to break, you can start to address the issue. In terms of your physical body, if your intention is to heal, you can heal through mantras. If your intention is to heal. Now, why would I say that? Why wouldn't everybody want to heal? When I started to work, when I came out of the psychic closet, not gay, I'm not gay. That was not the closet I came out of. I came out of the closet of nobody knew that I was a psychic spy, including my husband. Okay? Is a bit of a problem. That's how tough this whole thing was. Okay, so I come out of the closet and I'm dealing with people. And I was taking care of everybody for free because I didn't want money to be a block and I didn't know what I could do. So I get this family. They're so sweet. I think they're from Brazil. And they had an autistic child. So at that point, I was just getting kids fine. And I'm working with this kid. And they would come once a month. I'd take care of them. The kid got a lot better. Da, 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 da. And then one day, they would come, the whole family, including the grandmother. One day, they don't come with the grandmother. I'm still answering your question, LG glasses. The grandmother doesn't show. So I am. And I said, oh, what happened to the grandmother? Oh, she's not well. What's the matter? Cancer. And I was like, wow. But my head has its own thought process. It's like, so I asked the masters, why did she get cancer? Is she going to die? And my master said, no, she's not. Well, why did she get cancer? Why would she? Because you get everything because it's your intention. So why would she intend on getting cancer in the middle of her? She adored the grandkid. That's in the book, by the way, the one I'm trying to get out this month. And my master said, she knows that the kid who's autistic is also a spoiled brat. She's trying to take away attention from the kid. The only way she could do it was to get sick. So now they're not paying as much attention to the kid, so chances are he'll be less bratty. But since that was her intention, no, she's not going to die. And that was the way it was. She came back several sessions later. Her intention was to get sick, deviate attention so that somebody else could flourish, whatever. So, what is your intention with what you have? Because it always goes back to your intention. This last week, I was doing an intention on not being alone because of the whole, since I was a child, I was always separated. It was too special. They used to tell me that the Russians would steal me. Nobody could know what I did. That's when I lived in Europe. Okay, whatever. Isolated. So I'm doing a mantra on being isolated and alone and lonely. And all of a sudden I changed it to even though I want to be alone. And I was like, I don't want to be alone. But I already know. Okay, so where am I going to go with this? I started to do the mantra even though I wanted to be alone, which is not something that I know. But I know. So I'm doing the mantra and all of a sudden I remembered part of my training in Tibet, which was the monks put me in a mountain. But I already knew that. I've already talked about it. I've already shared. That wasn't what I remembered. What I remembered was I was okay in that mountain. I wanted to be alone because I wasn't alone. That, it turned out, I didn't realize until this happened 2 weeks ago. That is a very sacred mountain, and people aren't allowed to climb it. NASA has something at the top of it. Okay, I never said that. Um, and they bury the sacred monks, Rinpoches, Dalai Lamas in that mountain. I had established a relationship with their spirits, and apparently I enjoyed it. I never remembered that until I did a mantra. I followed some words that I said, this is taking me someplace. And I had a friend of mine that said, you really do want to be alone? I said, no, I don't. Yeah, there's a huge part of me that would like to be back there. And I'm going to say it, with those dead bodies, because contrary to where when I have to deal with a spirit and I just see the spirit in that mountain, those masters all had their etheric body, which is that grid, the matrix. I don't know why. I'll figure that out, or I'll find out about that the next time. So yes, you can deal with whatever issue you have with mantras. And it's not just my team and my people, it's history. You get the right change of mindset, that part of you that created that disease, if you change it, the disease can't sustain. But the easiest way to getting at it are the mantras. Okay? Yes, somebody's telling me that they got some bath salts with CBD from Saltworks. Yes, I purchased them. They're very nice. It's very, very good. Okay. If we don't have any more questions, I think this is about it. Um, I'm feeling increasingly comfortable in sharing pretty heavy duty metaphysical information in English, because I was always told I could say whatever I wanted with the Hispanic crowd, but not with the Anglos. That was dangerous. And here we are. But 2 days ago, a government person said they have actual spaceships, which we all know that they do. This whole thing about we can't really accept it and we look dumb unless the government gives us permission, as if their IQs were so high. Oh my God. But I think that's how we got ourselves into so much trouble. The whole hierarchy thing. And the guy at the top not necessarily being the person who should be in charge of all of the planet. Anyway, so I'm going to say goodbye and tell you that if we're able to get, not numbers, we're able to get support having to do with feeling like we're actually make a difference. People can hear us. Sometimes there's a gap between what somebody knows and what the other person knows. And then when you try to give the information, it falls in because there's just not enough of a connection. We need to find out to what level we can talk here and actually make a difference. It's not a question of talking above or at. It's a question of delivering the information, giving it to you in a way you can take it in. And then you figure out if you want to accept it or keep it or pass it on or whatever. So I am going to then say goodbye and tell you that listening to this kind of information, I think, will help to stabilize you with all the craziness that's going to rain upon us in the next several weeks. And I wish you luck and thank you for joining me, all of you. And technologically impaired Frances has to find the turn off button. It's right up here. Thank you.